Welcome to the Bleacher Preacher podcast. I am Coach Cuts, and today I'm going to discuss the Mixed Match Challenge teams that have been announced so far, and then fantasy book the rest of the teams. So, first one that was announced was Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss. Okay, so I understand furthering storyline, but at what cost are we doing this? Okay, so we want to keep kayfabe as much as possible, but to further Nia and Alexa feud through this is the wrong move. You know, don't humanize your monster. That's the first thing that really kind of bothers me is, you know, Braun's Braun. And, you know, besides the last couple things he did with the Elf parody, and then when he was on Talk as Jericho last Christmas when they're in their Talking Shop interview, he hasn't really shown a human side. And in both kind of things that he did for, WWE's YouTube, he really kind of showed a human side. And I don't like that. I don't like that so far. Not when you're trying to build Braun as this undefeatable, I should say, not undefeated, but undefeatable monster. So during that little WWE.com exclusive thing, he really got me when he put his finger over Alexa's mouth and then said, "Who cares what Nia thinks? I'm the only friend she needs," or something to that fact. No monsters, have friends. Monsters aren't supposed to have friends. But at least if he was teaming with Nia, they could have shared that dominant factor, which could have made them, mesh a little bit more. I honestly think this was a ploy to put the biggest guy with the smallest woman. Don't want to see that, but it should be fun. They're definitely going to win some matches. All right, so the next one on the SmackDown side is Charlotte Flair and Bobby Roode. So this is the team that makes the most sense of all the ones that they've announced so far. Bobby and Charlotte's characters share that quote-unquote swagger, or at least Bobby did when he was in NXT before his mishandled character work on the main roster. But that's neither here nor there. That's a podcast for another day. So when you have Charlotte Flair and Bobby Roode, they're kind of akin to royalty. They're better than you, and they should be booked as such. This team would be so much better as a heel team going into this thing. But as of right now, they're both faces, and I don't see that changing. So next on the Raw side, we have Finn Balor and Sasha Banks. So this is just another case of the WWE trolling their fans. Every reasonable person, anybody who paid attention in NXT, wanted to see Finn and Bayley. We should have saw Bayley Club exist again. If anybody remembers, they had some extended interaction on NXT before they both made their main roster debuts. And one of the things that kind of bothers me is I don't see the chemistry. I don't see the chemistry that should be there in these mixed match challenge teams. I don't know. Finn's trying his best. He said his little nephew, this is his favorite team because it's combining his two favorite superstars. And then did the cute little kid voice or whatever. So both are excellent workers, but I'm disappointed we won't see Bayley Club exist again. And we have to settle for Demon Boss. That's the name they came up with. Next for SmackDown, we've got Rusev and Lana. So first off, the best thing about this is you can legitimately see how excited Rusev was to team with his wife. They haven't been seen on TV together in months. And that's just one of the things that you can notice right away. But what I am going to say here is, and it's something that's been kind of bothering me for a little while now, is why is Lana using this Russian accent still? She doesn't use it on Total Divas, but continues to do it on WWE television. I'm sorry, it just bothers me. where are they trying to draw the line for kayfabe there? So this team will be, the showcase of Rusev. As we've seen so far, Lana's not very polished in the ring. I expect, Rusev to dominate the majority of the match. And then we'll hopefully see more polished Lana than what we saw when she first came back and they kind of forced her in with Naomi, who we'll talk about in a second, but I'm not very impressed with either. So they came up with the the name Ravishing Rusev Day for their team. And I sincerely hope that Aiden English tags along to add to the comic relief that we've seen with Rusev lately. So next team on SmackDown is Jimmy Uso and Naomi. So this is another instance where an actual couple is competing together, and I'm glad to see it. This is another couple that we don't see interact on TV or in storyline at all. Like I hinted to just a second ago, I'm still not sold on Naomi. I think it's an instance where a flashy entrance is used to cover up a mediocre worker with questionable mic skills. It was really awkward. Every time she talks, it's really awkward, but they did those two little segments for the WWE's YouTube or whatever, and she was just so unnatural. She's I don't know how to explain it. It just really bothers me. But anyway, Jimmy and his brother, Jay, have turned themselves into absolute gems on SmackDown in the tag team division. They were kind of sputtering when they were on Raw, not but a year ago, and they haven't shown any signs of slowing down yet. I don't think I've watched an Uso match that disappointed in the last year. I keep going back to that Hell in the Cell match against the New Day. It was amazing. And even this week on SmackDown when they faced American Alpha and they did the little wonky finish thing where, the legal men weren't in the ring or whatever. They still impress, for an overused move, the super kick, they sure know how to execute. I'm really high on the Usos. But hopefully this team of Jimmy and Naomi will work out, Next team from Raw is Apollo Crews and Nia Jax. And of the entire thing, and even in my fantasy booked teams that we're going to talk about in just a second here, this is definitely the most disappointing team of this entire thing. I don't know, man. If you wanted to continue to further this storyline, like they are with Alexa and Strowman, then Nia's partner should have been Enzo. He wasn't announced the initial participants or whatever, but if you really want to continue storyline, that's the matchup you have to go with. I'll give it to Nia for working the little promo thing she did to the best of her ability. She just looked completely disgusted and distraught's not the right word, but just flabbergasted. And even when the little promo thing was over, she's looking at Kurt and telling him, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. But I wonder how much of that was kind of real, like her real feelings. It's easy, when you're performing or doing a promo or whatever, if it comes from a place that's real. So she knocked that out of the park. So I really do wonder how much of that is real. Apollo Crews, again, another podcast for another day, but completely mishandled. He's one of the most talented athletes on the roster, but has no personality. They've really tried with this Titus Worldwide thing, and I think if they would have continued it better when they were doing the Akira Tozawa stuff, it could have went somewhere. But right now, it's kind of just fluttering. They just added what's her face as their statistician or whatever. But God, she's so awkward. She's so awkward. And Dana Brooke is the name I was looking for. So I've been surprised before by WWE, and hopefully they do it again. But this team is definitely disappointing. So the next thing we're going to talk about is these unannounced teams, unannounced team members. We don't know who's going where or who's going with what. But on the Raw side, the three, I say three, the three spots that are left on the men's side of Raw are Goldust, The Miz, and then it's a vote on the last member. It's either Jason Jordan, Samoa Joe, or Elias for that last spot. The women left on the Raw side are Bayley, Asuka, and Alicia Fox. So if I was to fantasy book these teams, the first I would go with is Goldust and Bayley. I think this one completely makes sense. They're both a lot of fun. You know, they both have that kind of bubbly personality, more so Bayley. But, you know, Dustin Runnels has been doing this forever. Goldust really knows how to play that up. He knows how to play off of people. I think this would be a ton of fun. You know, I can imagine now Bayley coming out in some elaborate gold outfit to match Goldie, and you know, this would be more of a comedy team. But you have to have that to keep it entertaining. You know, this is sports entertainment, and they like to harp on that. So you have to keep it entertaining, and this is your entertainment team. Next combo, I'm going to go Miz and Alicia Fox. Now, this one hurts, but based on my combos here and my next selection, they got placed together. I can see Alicia riding Miz's coattails, and unfortunately being one of the first casualties of the challenge. I think this team will be sacrificed to somebody like Bobby Roode and Charlotte. But my next team could possibly win it all if it was put together. I'm going to go with Samoa Joe and Asuka. And this would be the perfect fit. You know, it would rival Roode and Charlotte for that best matchup of characters. You know, you got two ruthless competitors that would come in and just dominate whoever they went against. And it would be so much fun. I can just imagine, you know, Joe, you know, a lot of people are iffy on Joe. I love Joe. You know, he's got great promo work. You know, he's super athletic for a big guy. You know, and then Asuka's Asuka. You know, that's easy. All right, so on the SmackDown side, the remaining men are Shinsuke Nakamura. You got Sami Zayn, and you have one member of the New Day for the vote. And then on the women's side, you have Becky Lynch, Carmella, and Natalya. So if I was going to fantasy book this one, so my first pairing probably makes the most sense here. Sami Zayn and Becky Lynch. You know, both are great workers, and even though Sami's a heel, I think this combo would get a lot of love from the fans. You know, Becky just came back. You know, filming. What is it, Marine? Whatever, 27 or whatever the hell they're on now. But you know, she just came back. Sammy's always been a great worker. He's doing great stuff with Kevin Owens right now. Again, another angle that a lot of people are iffy on, but I think that when it's all said and done, that'll be, you know, we'll look back on that story and appreciate it for everything they're doing. All right, so next one, again, this is a casualty of circumstance, but I'm going to go Shinsuke Nakamura and Natalya. Now, again, two good workers, and Lord knows I love Nakamura, but Natalya, it's so hard to book Natalya right now because they had her not even 2 months ago being dominant, being the champion, but now she's kind of, I don't know where she's at. You know, she was feuding with the Riot Squad there for a minute, and you know, she didn't step in and stepped in, and I don't know. It's kind of one of those things about being the elder stateswoman, I guess, on the roster. But you know, it could be interesting if they book her strong, like they had been in the last couple months. You know, because Lord knows she's a good talent. She's got that heart background. You know, the only female graduate of the Heart Dungeon or whatever they want to say. All right, so my last combo is going to be Big E and Carmella. So this is your comedy team from the SmackDown side. Again, going to be super entertaining. Big E, Big E's one of my favorite guys to watch in the tag division right now, because he is just he's just larger than life. He's the strong man of the group, but he's also the teddy bear. He's also the guy that spanks people and shakes his butt around. God, but don't do that suicide dive anymore, Big E. Oh, so scary. Every time you do it, I just hold my breath. You're gonna break your neck. But again, this will be a great pairing, and I hope they go through with it. So, guys, we'll see how this Facebook experiment will go for the WWE. I've never found myself in a position to root against the company, but I'm not sure about this move. They're exploring options into more digital platform with their TV deal coming up soon. I think it's within the next year. But I think this would work better as a network special. Allow people to come and go as they please. Maybe done in like a King of the Ring style format, with eliminations and really break it down. We're in uncharted territory here. They're taking a match that in itself has traditionally been a bore. If you're watching Raw or SmackDown and they book a mixed tag team match, I'll be the first one to tell you I'm groaning. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to sit there. It's probably going to be one that I fast forward on my DVR. But they're taking this typically boring match and generating a ton of buzz. I think they're doing a great job. Doing the little promos, and it's not just one. I think every one of them has 2 videos so far. But they're doing a good job promoting it, and so far, I think I went on there the other day, and they had something like 192,000 people had already subscribed to watch the videos when they start coming on the 16th here. Well, that's it for today, guys. So this edition of the Bleacher Preacher podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at BleachPreachPod. We're also on Patreon at patreon.com/Bleacher Preacher Podcast. So thanks for listening. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.